everyone, this is Erin from Sandpaper Road in the USA, and today I'm sharing with you a tutorial for the Craft a Clock creative team. This is a 12-inch by 12-inch or 30 and 5 by 30 and 5 centimeter scrapbook layout using the Warm Breeze paper collection by Craft a Clock. Isn't this so fun? So I used lots of the new embellishments, the cardboard die cuts. I love those cardboard die cuts and the flowers. This layout can hold up to 2 photos, depending on the photos you have. And it's got lots of room for really neat embellishments. I used a corner pocket from the new junk journal set. And included some ephemera pieces also from the junk journal set. And I'll put some journaling there on the back later on. So let me start out by showing you the paper collection that I used. This is the Warm Breeze collection, the large set. On the back of the packaging, they always put tags and some extras that you can cut out. Really nice double-sided paper. Now there's the sheet that I used for the base, and then there I used that other sheet there as well. I love the butterflies on this paper. I wanted to use some of them, but then I ended up using some of the cut parts from the back of the packaging. I also used the junk journal extras set, and I'll show you what comes in that. There's the corner pockets. Here's some really neat just ephemera. There's the ticket cards, tags, little journaling cards. And some of the papers are double-sided and some are single-sided. And I like this because it even comes with some quotes as well, English and Polish. Here's the cardboard die cuts. You can see the 2 that are missing that from the ones that I used. But I'll just show you, they come out really easily. And you can see they're fairly thin, but they're really strong. It's a really, really strong cardboard. There is the flowers that I cut as well. Flowers 18. Now the Warm Breeze also has an extras to cut page, but I didn't use that in this project. I started by using the 6x6 collection that I had as a template to just trace around. Then I'll use a knife to cut out that square that I traced. Now I'll cut out that balloon and use that later on. Now it might look funny that I have a page with a hole cut out of it, but we're going to cover that up and you won't even know that it's there. Plus it helps to stretch your supplies. Now here I'm going to use sheet 4, and I'm going to measure a square that's a little bit larger than the square I cut. This would be more like a 15 and 5 centimeter square. And now I'll tear the outside edges. And now I'll lay that square right over top of the hole. I'm going to use some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, but any wet glue that you have or liquid adhesive will work just fine. And I'm just marking with a pencil where this square will go, and then I can glue along the outside edge. Now I'll take some time and cut out that hot air balloon that was on the piece that I took out of the base. It doesn't take long to fussy cut. And then it gives me an extra embellishment to use on my page. I'm going to have this hot air balloon going off the page, but I do want to mount it up just a little bit with some scrap pieces of some cardboard that I had. I had to leave a little space in the middle with the cardboard. See that little gap in the center where there's no cardboard there? Well, I had to leave that space because remember I rolled up the edge of the pink paper. So that edge needed to have somewhere to rest. That looks really good. I like it a lot. Now I have some circle shaped dies in my stash, but if you don't have any circle die, you could also use like the inside of your tape roll if you have double-sided tape, and just trace some circles and cut some circles from the rest of the scrap paper we were using. Now I'm cutting off the edge there of the hot air balloon so that it goes flush against the page. That looks really good so far. Really, really nice. I like it. You can see the edge of that pink paper just folded up just a bit. And now we have these circle shapes. Again, you could just trace any circle. You could trace the bottom of a cup, or you know, if you have a little plastic circle stencil or a template or a die, or like I said, the roll of your tape. Anything would work just fine. Cut a few of the circles in half, and then you can just place them around the layout. It looks really good because the hot air balloon has a circular look to it, but we've got that extra square of the pink paper on the layout. So you've got a mix of a few different shapes, but I think it works really well. I was trying something, but I couldn't tell how it was going to look, so I was just trying different things before I put them onto my page. That looks good right there to me. And I like how there's a few of the circles going off the page, which matches the hot air balloon going off the page. So now it's just a matter of gluing the circles and half circles down. I use an acrylic block just to rest on top of something when I use the liquid glue. You could use really anything that's got a little bit of weight to it. Sometimes I even use my cell phone and just rest it on top. Or a book, or just something that's got a little bit of weight to it. That looks excellent so far. So I'm going to use one of the junk journaling pockets. It's a corner pocket there, and I was going to use the one that had the same exact pattern there as the paper. I was going to maybe use one that was on the bottom right, a smaller pocket, but I just decided on this one. I liked the size. I liked that it had a little bit of a sort of an orange colored tint to it, so it was just a little bit different. Now there are lines already suggested for you on the corner template there on the corner. I'm using my Scor board to score the lines before I try to fold them. It's really easy, and I'm so happy about this junk journal set. It's new at the time that I'm making this video. I've tried to make corner pockets on my pages before, and they're not easy to make. So I'm just tucking the corner actually behind the whole page and using just a little bit of wet glue, and it couldn't get any easier than that. That is just so easy. You could use double-sided tape if you wanted. Just so simple. And I like the idea of a corner pocket. Sometimes I do flaps that kind of fold open so that we can have more room for embellishments or ephemera or more photos or something. But this is another option too. It just gives you more room to do some things. You can just put more pictures, like little, you know, memorabilia, that kind of thing. Anything you wanted, you could put in that little pocket. So when you cut out all of the extras and all of the junk journal extras and all the extras and all the quotes and everything, there's a lot to choose from. So I usually lay it all out and then just sort of pick and choose a few things. I really like these. They look like library cards or like recipe cards for journaling. I'm going to have to make some more room here on my table. So I think I'm going to use one of these little recipe cards or little tab divider cards. It's just so fun. Now I'm using my paper trimmer just to get that straight line started. Of course, you could use your scissors, and normally I probably would use my scissors, but my paper trimmer was sitting right there on the table still. So I'm just getting the cut started, and then I'll go back in with my scissors. And I even have a corner rounder that will round the edges, the bottom edges there of the card. There's my corner rounder. It's just like a little punch. Yeah, there, that's really nice. That's really nice in that pocket. I thought about maybe gluing down those sides of that pocket, but then I decided not to. I did kind of rough up the edges of that recipe card. I just dragged my scissors across the edge. Now I really liked that little tag. I think it was actually on the back of the packaging. That little long skinny tag. And I wanted to use it because I needed something to balance that long skinny look of the flowers that were on the right side of the page. I needed something to bring that same idea to the left. I'm also adding some Distress Oxide ink around the edge of my library card or my recipe card. Not too much, but just enough. It's just enough to give it a little bit of an outline when it's laying against the rest of the scrapbook page. Now those little hot air balloon tickets, I wanted to make it look like they were maybe from a county fair or from a hot air balloon ride, or like somebody had saved the tickets from the day. And just a cute little decoration. So I'm folding it like an accordion fold. But then, I mean, once you fold it really hard, it doesn't want to lay perfectly flat after that, which is just what I wanted. I wanted it to have just a little bit of a bounce. And then I thought about using my stapler, but then I had these in my stash. I had these little square paper clips all in these different colors. And they're made for scrapbooking. I don't have any idea where they came from. I think my aunt gave them to me. And so I thought I'd put 2 of those paper clips there like that. And I thought that looks really good. It looks really good. You could put extra pictures back there in that pocket. I knew I wanted to use that as my main picture. And I wanted this other picture also of me and my Grandma Judy down in there. So I thought, well, I'll just cut it out with a circle and have it match the rest of the circles. This is a nice idea because you could, don't forget about doing cutting your photos with your dies, or making your photos into circle shapes like tracing with your tape or something like that. There's lots of possibilities. I really, really wanted to use some of these cardboard die cuts. If I could, I would have used them all. I love them so much. But first, I need to figure out what's going on with my photo. This is a photo of me with some very special lady friends of mine. It's just perfect. And do you know that I noticed after the fact, I noticed that my Grandma Judy's shirt perfectly matches the color of the hot air balloons. I didn't even mean to do that. It just was something I noticed after. Just all the colors just happened to just go really well. But I think that's true because the summer, you know, this is a warm breeze. It's a summer type theme paper, so you've got that color scheme of summer. Now I'm making a photo mat, which you don't have to do, but part of that I'm doing because some of the pictures I want to take, I don't want to necessarily have the photos mounted in the layout yet, and I want you to be able to see where the photo goes. But it does look good actually with that white border. That looks really good like that. So I had to pull the hot air balloon up just a little bit, and then I'm going to use a little bit of Scor tape. You could also ink the edges of that photo mat if you wanted. I like it just the way it is with this photo. It looks really good. I'm going to glue that hot air balloon back down on top. And while that glue is drying, I added some eyelets from my stash into the holes of that tag, which I know I want to put right there. I just don't want to put it down yet. And that wreath, I really want to put right there too. I've got some ideas for some things of where I want them to go. Those butterflies are just adorable. And you could see that was from the back of the packaging. I love how all the circles just match. It looks really good. And I like how the angle of the corner pocket, it's like a strong angle, and it really matches the corners of, you know, the photo that's a rectangle and then the square that we added. So you've got a lot of continuity in the layout there. I love these chipboard pieces so much. I was trying to add them everywhere, and it just looked like too much. But then I thought, well, let me put one almost like as a little tab divider there by the picture, which will go with the journaling card. And that was the perfect one. That one is so perfect. That little tab right there. So that's where that's going to go for sure. I just wanted one more though. I just wanted one more. And that one with the butterfly is going to be perfect. Now see how I've got the butterfly on the bottom, and then I really wanted to use a butterfly there by the wreath. And then I just feel like I need one more butterfly somewhere on the page. If I have 1, 2 butterflies, I feel like I need 3 butterflies. So, but I think what the problem was that there was just too much shape involved. So I thought, well, let me just cut this butterfly out of the shape and just let it be just a butterfly on its own. And I'm glad I did that way. There were some other cute butterflies on other sheets of the paper in this collection, but I didn't want to cut into a whole sheet just to get the butterfly out. Now that's going to look really good. So there's 1, 2 butterflies. That looks good. See how everything is matching up? You've got vertical there. You've got vertical there. Here on the cardboard tab. That looks really good. Some people might not like the busy look of the page. They might think it looks too busy, but to me, it matches the kind of day that I had with my friends. It was so funny. We laughed so much. We went a bunch of different places. We had a great time. Some of my friends were loud, you know, and it was just, so it was really, the design of the page matched the mood of the day. So I'm going to use my hot glue gun and just glue down the center of that butterfly, and then I can bend the wings up just a little bit. That looks excellent. But I really wanted to use that other butterfly cardboard die cut. It was just calling to me. I just had to do it. So I thought, okay, where is it going to go? It has to go somewhere. And then I found it. He found his home. But I want you to see why that makes sense. See how it's 1 butterfly at the top, 1 at the side, and 1 at the bottom. So you've got 3 butterflies there. Things here are tending to be in 3s. Now I'm going to work with a few of the flowers. I did cut out all of the flowers from the sheet, but I'm not going to use them all on this project. I'll use some with some other projects that I make. Now this is just, it's called a stylus, and it's just a metal stick with kind of like a ball on one end, and I push it down onto the flower, and that white part is like a piece of thick foam, and it sort of makes the paper bend up just a little bit. And this is the part where you can just play with the flowers and the leaves, and hot glue works really, really well for this. Also liquid glue as well. I like using hot glue for this part because it gives me just a little bit of dimension without me having to use cardboard or foam all the time. Some people don't like to use hot glue on their scrapbook pages because they don't want hot glue by their pictures. And I understand that. I don't think I would use hot glue near my pictures. But every here and there I think is okay. Now I will point out here that there's so many flowers already on the page that I didn't feel like I had to add too many. I just wanted to add flowers almost as dimension to make the flowers that were already on the page. I wanted to make them seem like they were popping up or popping off the page. Now for one of the final steps, I'm going to ink around the outside edges of the whole page using that Distress Oxide ink, and that is in Frayed Burlap. Now you probably don't have to ink around the outside edges. It looks fine without it, but I like to do that, especially if I've used ink somewhere in the middle of the page or somewhere on the page. And remember, I used it on that recipe card or that journaling card. It just kind of brings it all together. You can't see it really well on my brown table, but I have close-up pictures at the end of the video that I'll show you. That looks really good. I'm really happy about the way this turned out. It just looks so good. Now, I did want to finish off with a few of the quotes. Now, there are the quotes that come in with the junk journal set, but I also added I had some Catch a Moment Quotes 3 left over from another project that I did. And there was one that was just perfect to go right in the middle of that wreath. So I just dragged my scissors across the edges just a little bit to kind of rough it up and make it look like it belonged on that page. And just a little bit of scrap cardboard to add some dimension. Just a bit. That looks amazing. So good. I love it. I love everything about it. It looks great. So I'll show you some close-ups of the final result here with the photos, and then a few of them without. And thanks so much to Craft O'Clock for providing the products today. You can check the description box for links of where you can find Craft O'Clock products. Thanks so much for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this collection and the tutorial, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.